By late 2025, the international community was operating within a fragile but established baseline. Diplomacy centered on containing the war in Ukraine and managing the friction of U.S.-China trade disputes. That status quo evaporated on February 28, 2026. Massive U.S. and Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, and decapitated the country's top leadership. The response was a massive, decentralized retaliation. Iran launched ballistic missile salvos while Hezbollah initiated heavy rocket barrages from Lebanon, met immediately by Israeli ground forces pushing across the border. Within days, more than 1 million people were displaced in Beirut alone. Simultaneously, emerging threats in the Gulf began to choke off the world's most vital maritime energy routes. This escalation poured into an international system that was already operating at its absolute military and diplomatic limit. The global landscape now falls into 3 distinct risk tiers: red zones representing active hot wars, orange zones for simmering flashpoints, and yellow zones for grinding proxy conflicts. The red zones are defined by direct military conflict between states. These are the flashpoints with the highest probability of triggering a regional collapse or dragging in external alliances like NATO. In the Middle East, this has translated into a direct threat to the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian naval assets and local militias are actively targeting commercial traffic, threatening to sever global energy supplies. Thousands of miles away, the Eastern European red zone remains in a state of high-intensity attrition as the Russia-Ukraine war enters its 4th year. While Russia maintains control of roughly 20% of Ukraine through slow gains in Donetsk and Kharkiv, Ukraine has shifted its strategy to deep drone strikes, hitting energy infrastructure far behind Russian lines. These dual conflicts create a massive, immediate drain on Western military and financial stockpiles, leaving few resources available for the rest of the globe. The orange zones represent simmering flashpoints. In these regions, superpowers are posturing for control, and the primary weapons are economic rather than kinetic. The most volatile of these is the Taiwan Strait. Chinese military drills and constant naval pressure have pushed cross-strait tensions to their highest point in decades. This friction is exacerbated by an $11 billion package of U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, which remains stalled ahead of a high-stakes summit between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. A direct clash or a full blockade in this region would sever the global supply of semiconductors. Current economic models project the resulting fallout would cost the global economy $10 trillion. In Latin America, a secondary simmering crisis has emerged. The U.S. is utilizing naval interdictions and a military buildup to pressure the Maduro government in Venezuela. Geoeconomic weaponization has become the primary driver of these flashpoints. Through tariffs and blockades, states are now able to fracture the global order without deploying a single soldier. The yellow zones are characterized by grinding civil wars. These conflicts are defined by state collapse, massive displacement, and exploitation by opportunistic foreign powers. In Sudan, rival factions backed by the UAE, Egypt, and Iran have driven the country into a state of mass famine and atrocities. In Southeast Asia, Myanmar's military junta is utilizing foreign backing to sustain a campaign of repression and displacement against its own population. Across West Africa's Sahel region, jihadist insurgencies are advancing into the vacuum created by the withdrawal of Western military forces. These destabilized areas are being rapidly occupied by the Russian Africa Corps, which is moving to establish new proxy spheres of influence. While these conflicts are geographically localized, the resulting refugee flows and terror exports provide the breeding grounds for the next decade of international crises. The sheer density of these active zones demonstrates a world operating under extreme strain. This creates a bandwidth crisis. Major powers currently lack the diplomatic and military resources required to manage multiple overlapping fires simultaneously. The sudden outbreak of the U.S. Iran war is pulling political capital and military hardware away from crucial fronts in Ukraine and Taiwan. These combined frictions are resulting in energy market shocks, severed supply chains, and rising inflation that affect every economy on the planet. In the 2026 multipolar era, the global order functions as a single, unstable structure, where a strike in one hemisphere threatens to bring down the entire system.